So chapter 2. That is structure of atom. Structure of atom. And this academic session, some of the topics of this chapter are removed. So the topics whichever are there right now in this chapter that we will discuss, and this chapter begins with the topic that is Bohr's atomic model and the drawbacks of Bohr's atomic model. To understand this, knowledge of Rutherford's atomic model is required. What are the drawbacks of Rutherford's atomic model? Because based on that, some points were added to frame a new model of the atom by Niels Bohr, known as Niels Bohr's atomic model. According to Rutherford, in entire atom, the center part is hard part and it is very dense, and that dense part of the atom is nothing but nucleus of the atom, and that dense part of the atom is hard. The reason is it contains the particles like protons and neutrons. So that gives more weight to the entire central part of the atom when compared to the electrons which are revolving around the nucleus. Here electrons are also particles, but mass of electron when compared to proton almost 2000 times it is less. That means when 2000 electrons are brought close to each other, that group of electrons weight is equal to the weight of one proton. That way it is. That means electron's mass is meager, very very less when compared to mass of proton or mass of neutron. That is why mass of electron or total mass of the electrons revolving around the nucleus are ignored. And another point to remember is proton's mass is almost equal to the mass of the neutron. That's why we add proton's number to the neutron's number to get the mass of entire nucleus of the atom. So according to Rutherford, mass of the entire atom is because of its nucleus, which is located at center part of the atom. Next, in the case of Rutherford's atom, around the nucleus we have much empty space. So electrons which are revolving in the nucleus, they may come in contact with the particle that is passing through the atom, or those electrons may not come in contact with the particles which are passing through the atom. For example, alpha particles, when they are passing through the atom of an element like gold, very very thin foil of gold is taken, and the alpha particles, heavier particles. Alpha particles means nuclei of what is called helium. When they are passed through the atom, without any deviation, some particles came out of that atom, showing that much space is empty. Some particles, after entering into the atom, they took deviation, showing that alpha particles charge is similar to the charge possessed by the nucleus of the atom. So naturally repulsion will take place because both have same charge. Alpha particles have same charge like that of protons. So that is the reason why deviation has taken place there. And third observation or third point is when the particle strike at the center part of the atom. Particle means here alpha particle. When it is passed over thin foil of gold atom, as soon as it strikes the nucleus, it gets back or reflected back into the same direction, showing that center part is hard. Right, that is nucleus. That's about the model of Rutherford. Let us see, children, with continuation with Rutherford's atomic model. In Rutherford's atomic model, at center part of the atom we have nucleus, and around that empty space, and electrons are revolving continuously. Right. And the alpha particles, when bombarded Rutherford's atom, some particles reflected back, some particles refracted, means came out of the atom, and some particles bounced back in the same direction. That was Rutherford's atomic model. Here, when electrons are revolving continuously around the nucleus, those electrons will lose energy and finally they will fall into the nucleus. As a result, atom gets spoiled. That means when all the atoms of the matter get spoiled, then that matter doesn't exist. Means entire matter collapses, but that is not happening. That means electrons revolving around the nucleus in the atom are not losing the energy. That is the point. So on that basis, let us see Bohr's atomic model. Bohr's atomic model. Niels Bohr, name of the scientist. Now let us see, according to Niels Bohr, around the nucleus when the electrons are revolving continuously in the circular paths. Here we have a particular term for the circular path, that is orbit. So around the nucleus we have many orbits: K orbit, L orbit, M orbit, N orbit, O orbit, and so on. These were taught when you were in class 9th. Right. So circular path is called orbit. When the electrons are revolving around the nucleus in the circular paths, the energy of the electrons are quantized. When the electrons are revolving in the circular path, they will have angular momentum. Right. And according to Niels Bohr, when the atom like hydrogen is taken, hydrogen is the simplest atom with single electron and single proton, no neutron at all. When hydrogen gas is taken, in the case of hydrogen gas, hydrogen atom, simple atom. So when hydrogen gas is taken, hydrogen gas is made up of hydrogen molecules, means H2 molecules. And in that case, Niels Bohr got spectrum, particular spectrum in the case of hydrogen gas, which is made up of hydrogen atoms. Each molecule of hydrogen gas is made up of 2 hydrogen atoms. And he could explain, Bohr could explain the spectra of hydrogen and hydrogen-like systems. Here, hydrogen contains only 1 electron. Right. Its atomic number is 1. Z stands for atomic number. Now, hydrogen-like system means it can be Li plus 2, lithium atomic number 3. So it should have 3 electrons in it. When we remove 2 electrons from lithium, we will get Li plus 2. This is one example. And second example is beryllium, atomic number 4, so it should have 4 electrons. When we remove 3 electrons from beryllium, only 1 electron will be left out, and that is represented by Be plus 3. Next, we can take helium also. Helium atomic number 2 means one atom of helium contains 2 electrons. When 1 electron is removed from helium, we will get He plus. He plus or He plus 1, which contains only 1 electron. So here, Niels Bohr could explain the spectra formed by the hydrogen atom, which contains solitary or single electron in it, and also hydrogen-like systems called Li plus 2, Be plus 3, He plus, and so on. And Bohr could not explain the spectra formed by the systems which contain more than 1 electron in it. Like helium, He contains 2 electrons. What I have written here is He plus. This contains only 1 electron. So Niels Bohr could not explain the spectra formed by lithium atom, that is Li, beryllium atom, that is Be, helium atom, and so on. Next, in hydrogen spectrum itself, there are 2 lines which are lying very close to each other. That is called doublet. Doublet means, double means 2, right? So here spectral lines, 2 spectral lines in hydrogen spectrum lies very close to each other, that is called doublet. And Niels Bohr could not explain the doublet due to those 2 closely lying lines in hydrogen spectrum. And next point is, Niels Bohr could not explain the spectral lines which are undergoing splitting in electric field. Splitting up of spectral lines or lines in the spectrum. Splitting up of lines in the spectrum in electric field. Could not be explained. Actually, this phenomenon is called Stark effect. Stark effect means splitting up of spectral lines in electric field. So spectral lines undergo splitting, means they get separated when they are, means when the spectrum is kept in the electric field. Why these spectral lines are undergoing splitting? For that there was no explanation from both sides. So this is, you can say, one of the defects, and this phenomenon is called Stark effect. So this can be asked in the case of passage Basel questions for 1 mark. Next, let us see when the next point. Let us see, that is when spectrum is kept in the magnetic field, then also spectral lines get separated. Right. For that there was no explanation from both sides. So splitting up of lines in the spectrum of lines in the spectrum in magnetic field could not be explained. This is one more defect of Niels Bohr. So in the magnetic field, in the electric field, when the spectrum of a particular substance is kept, the spectral lines of that spectrum undergo splitting. For that there was no explanation from both sides. So these are some of the anomalies, or you can say defects, of Bohr's atomic model. Now how these defects are overcome or rectified, let us see. So the anomalies of Niels Bohr atom were corrected by incorporating two developments. What are those two developments? Let us see. The first development is the dual nature of matter, and second one is Heisenberg's uncertainty principle. These were the two developments. First, let us see matter and material particles to understand latter the dual nature of matter. So matter is composed of very small particles, and those particles, that can be atoms and molecules, in turn contains electrons, and these electrons in the atom are continuously revolving. So whichever particle or the object revolves continuously in a circular fashion will have wave nature. This is the important point. Here matter is made up of atoms or molecules, and these particles, atoms and molecules, they contain electrons in them, and those electrons, since they are moving around the nucleus continuously, so they have wave nature. And these particles will also have particular mass. That is, in short, about the matter. And in detail, let us see the first development that was incorporated in the quantum mechanical model of the atom after Niels Bohr, after Rutherford Niels Bohr atom came. After Niels Bohr quantum mechanical model of the atom. In quantum mechanical model of the atom, these two developments were incorporated in quantum mechanical model of the atom. Right. Now let us see these one by one in detail. The first one is dual nature of matter. Dual means double nature. So here matter has double nature, that is particle nature as well as wave nature. Right, any matter irrespective of its physical state and how it is composed of, whether it is composed of atoms or whether it is composed of molecules, always matter will have two natures, that is double nature. So one is particle nature and number two, wave nature. So in this way, the two natures of the particles together known as dual nature, and this is incorporated in quantum mechanical model of the atom. Wave nature. As far as wave nature is concerned, as I told you, electrons always revolve around the nucleus. Means they are not localized, they are not static. Because of this reason, powerful electron microscope is constructed. So wave nature of the electron is accountable for the construction of the powerful electronic microscope. Next is Heisenberg's uncertainty principle. Heisenberg's uncertainty principle. According to this principle, the position of the electron and velocity of the electron, or position of the electron and momentum of the electron cannot be determined simultaneously. So position of the electron and momentum of the electron cannot be determined simultaneously. This can be shown in the form of an expression, that is delta x into delta rho is greater than or equal to h by 4 pi. And here delta x stands for position of electron delta p stands for, delta rho stands for momentum of electron, and h is a constant. This Planck's constant its value is equal to 6.6 into 10 raised to minus 34 June 2nd, and pi value is known to us, that is 22 by 7, and momentum delta rho is equal to the mass of the electron and then velocity of the electron. Here, I didn't write delta in front of m because mass of the electron is fixed. We can substitute this in equation number 1 to get the new expression, and mass of the electron that is small m is equal to 9.1 into 10 raised to minus 31 kg. So here h is known, pi is known, in delta rho, that is m is known. That means position of electron and velocity of electron. Out of these two, if we know any one, the other unknown one can be calculated. Thank you, children.